Get full episodes of The Damage Report as a podcast on iTunes and Android, and you can watch the live show every weekday on YouTube TV. We have just finished the midterms, so it is obviously way too early to be speculating about who is going to be running for the Democratic nomination in 2020, but we're going to do it anyway because it is going to be incredibly important. It is going to be our lives for like 2 years, so let's just dive right in. And helping us dive is Emma Vigeland of Rebel HQ. Emma, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, John.
Good to have you here. So there's been some developments on the Democratic side. People who are changing their rhetoric, potentially could be announcing that they'll be running at some time in the near future. I saw that you were tweeting a lot about it yesterday. And I actually want to ask you about one of your tweets. You polled your audience on Twitter about who they think is definitely going to run at this point. What was some of the consensus?
I mean, the guy who's right above my shoulder, where is he? There we go. That's Bernie Sanders. This is my bedroom. So yeah, Bernie Sanders is definitely going to run. I mean, he's made it perfectly clear. He says if he feels he's the best candidate to defeat Trump, he will run. He knows as well as I do that nearly every poll indicates that he is the strongest or tied for the strongest candidate to beat Trump. I mean, obviously we don't know. There's a lot that could change, and saying that he would have beaten Trump in 2016 is counterfactual. We'll never know for sure, but all data shows that he likely would have beaten Trump by a very large margin compared to Hillary Clinton. And then, of course, I think Cory Booker has been setting the stage to run for a very long time with lots of speeches and camera time. Kirsten Gillibrand strategically voted against every single Trump nominee so she could run in 2020. Elizabeth Warren is setting herself up to run in 2020, although I don't think she'll do as well as many people think. I think Beto's going to run too, although he just conferenced with AIPAC and takes a lot of pro-Israel money, which I didn't really know.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, actually, I want to talk briefly about Beto because I noticed that he apparently now, when you ask him, he's not ruling out a run, which is interesting. I know that he's incredibly popular. He did very well against Ted Cruz in terms of the polling. I don't feel he did great in the debates, but you know, what do I know? But anyway, he narrowly lost in Texas, which is difficult. People are very excited about him. In some of the polling I've seen where they ask about potential people who might be running, he's like 3rd or 4th now, jumping above some of the names that you were just mentioning. So you think he's definitely going to run? And also, do you think that he's really earned it at this point?
Not really. I think he's definitely going to run. And I think he's Obama to me. He didn't take corporate PAC money because that's the requirement right now for anyone who's going to run in 2020 or anyone who wants to position themselves as a progressive. But he's very charismatic. He's young. He has his finger on the pulse of the progressive movement. But I don't think that necessarily makes him incredibly progressive. He's certainly not more progressive than Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, or I would even say Kamala Harris, who's someone who is intriguing to me. Yeah, she has that sketchy history with taking a donation from Steve Mnuchin and not prosecuting him, but she does have some progressive inclinations, and I find her to be an intriguing candidate. If I was to guess right now, I would say that her and Bernie Sanders will be the last two standing when it's all said and done.
Oh, that's interesting, because I was actually going to turn to, we're going to start off with this gigantic pool, it looks like. It looks like it's going to be something like the Republican side the other time around. And this time we're going to have quite a few either progressives or people who are branding themselves as progressives. We also have some centrists and then some oddball choices like Michael Avenatti. He really thought that he was going to run. Maybe the recent news will stop that from happening and spare us all of that.
You could have seen my eye roll from space there.
Exactly. Yeah, the new Mars lander could see it actually. So look, you think it's going to be Bernie and Kamala. If this turns into a long campaign of the sort that we had last time around, we actually had the situation where Bernie and Hillary were the ones for month after month. Do you think that people are going to hang in there? Do you think that Bernie Sanders is going to be hampered by other people who are running on a platform that is at least ostensibly progressive? Is this going to be a long, dirty race, do you think, like the last one?
I do, but I think that it'll be different in the sense that it's going to be much like the Republican primary of 2016, as you alluded to. It's going to be a crowded stage, and people are going to have a tough time differentiating themselves. But there are a few people who have positioned themselves smartly. Bernie Sanders has now enormous name recognition. He's the most popular politician in the country, and he has the credibility to say, I started all of this. I started all of these proposals that people are now piggybacking on. And he's just an authentic guy. You know, the way he speaks, people love him. Kirsten Gillibrand, I don't think is super progressive, but has very smartly, I may have mentioned this before, positioned herself by saying, I did not vote for any Trump nominee, and I'm the pro-woman candidate. I said Al Franken needs to resign. I am a Me Too candidate. That's me. And she's not taking corporate PAC money.
Yeah, that's true.
And, you know, it's hard to say how the other ones are going to differentiate themselves. You know, I think Beto might be the young, charismatic guy, but.
Yeah. At least one more question, a little bit of fun. Who do you think is going to have the most pathetic run for the Democratic nomination?
Didn't the Starbucks CEO say he wanted to run?
I didn't see that, actually. I've seen a number of like tech billionaires and other billionaires. Bloomberg was talking about it. There are these names that I see like, oh, they're sort of floating a trial balloon, and I think, really? You really think that that's the direction the country's going in? But they have a lot of money. They definitely feel entitled.
And a lot of people around them. I think Cory Booker will have a pretty pathetic run. He is someone who I find to be uninspiring, to say the least, despite the fact that he's very convinced of his own inspiring nature.
Yeah, I wish that, so I saw him on Sarah Silverman's show, and man, he talks a good game, but I wish that he was there in terms of the actual history, the actual past in terms of what he's supported. He's got a lot to fix if he wants to convince people, I think.
I'll tell you just from what I've heard and my personal experience being in Washington a little, the guy loves the camera more than, you know, many other politicians. And I find that incredibly off-putting, and I think that comes across, honestly. Yeah,
he was very comfortable with Sarah Silverman. Maybe she'll run, who knows? It's gonna be a big pool.
I'd love that.
That'd be pretty awesome, actually. That said, unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Emma, thank you so much for joining us. If people would like to see more of your work, of course, they can go to Rebel HQ and see all the great work you do every day.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Thank you very much for watching this clip from The Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.